Okay.
Is it going rogue?
It is going rogue. Like for some reason, my computer went sentient. So I switched over my settings from like my capture card to my sound output to go to my capture card, and I switched it back to the output, which is why we're able to have a conversation. And then just mid sentence, it was just like, you know what? We like to go back on the capture card that's not plugged in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
What you get for being a streamer,
Skype.
I guess.
God, Skype is really struggling to let me shine out here, and that's kind of racist.
It's also sounds right. Skype's like pretty bad at this. They've demonstrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over the past like year.
Right. They have cool features though, like we can see on big tits from Conor McGregor.
True.
You know? That's the little things in life.
This is all true.
Oh, they canceled the smoker. I'm sure you know this already though.
Yeah.
Want want.
But I mean, fine, because some of y'all need to wear masks.
Wait a minute. You think it's because of a mask reason? Or a COVID reason, rather? Not a mask reason.
I think it's an attendance reason, and I have a hard time believing that it's not related in some way.
To the COVID? COVID!
Right. One of them.
So, there is no UFC this weekend, so this is just going to be a recap of what we have just witnessed last weekend. We witnessed greatness. We witnessed 3 African champions, and Dana, there's nothing you can do about it.
Do you think?
Well,
and then it hasn't happened yet, but very, popular, important MMA journalists. I know you're watching. Mm-hmm. Now's the time to start making UFC equals Wakanda a thing. Just until Dana White turns like real pink and has to just explode.
Well, how long before we start seeing Dana break out the dashiki?
Never.
Joke's on you.
I feel like
for this Jake Paul,
Ben Askren. That's true.
That's gonna be for this.
Actually, that's pretty true. He's gonna pull out the dashiki.
He's gonna be there
Edwards, like comes out with a chair.
Yeah.
After the fight or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah. We're gonna see Dana White in like a gold throne at that fucking Jake Paul shit in his $1 million throne with the case of $1 million under the dashiki.
In his sarcophagus. With someone pouring like money on him.
He's the Undertaker now?
Yeah.
Money in the bank? Dana White? We love you.
Is he getting, like, I wonder how much of that he's getting.
Of what?
Of Askren, Jake Paul.
Probably nothing. Or is he like, you know what? He's been hooking Ben Askren up with like some sick, like striking coaches and shit. So he definitely is like sponsoring the camp.
Dana and UFC are not promoters of the fight, but I think there has to be some sort of reason that he would let Ben Askren not fight in the A cage, and that reason is almost definitely money in some case.
Yeah. Maybe he's pulling in a percentage for Dane. Because Ben Askren was like done, right? Well, that doesn't dissolve the contract. He's still under contract, even if he says he's done, right?
You have to like retire.
He did retire, didn't he? Retire?
And I think, but the problem with retirement is, I think there's like a time period in which that dissolves. If you return from retirement in a certain period of time, you are still under contract.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been relatively short since he's been retired. It hasn't even been a year, right? Or has it been 2 years?
I don't think it's even been a year yet.
Yeah.
Or it might have only been a year. Like, it hasn't been much longer than that.
Yeah. Oh, Ben. The old days where we thought he was going to, like, watermelon squeeze Jorge Masvidal's head off and was knocked out in 5 seconds. He says it doesn't bother him, but I'm having a hard time believing that he's not bothered by that every single day.
It's very, like, Jake Shields energy.
Yeah.
Where everyone was like, yep, this is it.
I'm cool, man.
He's gonna maneuver, and he's gonna work the lines and make sure Ben Askren is here because he's gonna be the next big thing. And then
he said $1 million. Do you think he's gonna remain true to that if Benny Boy gets KO'd?
Yeah.
It's a promotional thing, right? Like this is definitely.
I think you kind of have to.
Yeah. Because people are gonna watch this fight in the hopes that they're gonna see Dana White lose $1 million or not.
Right. Like
So.
I'm less interested in the outcome of the fight and more interested in watching him hand $1 million to someone.
Well, I'll tell you now, like he's got to have earned more than $1 million because he wagered $1 million, and I would assume putting $1 million and that having that be the promotion. I mean, like that. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, maybe I'll just like steal it or like watch the highlights, and I was like, now I want to see in real time what happens to Dana White when he fucking loses if he loses $1 million, because like it's possible unless this is a fucking rig job. What are the chances this is like a Ryzen like Mayweather versus Tenshin Nakasawa type thing?
I don't think there is a chance because why? Like, who benefits?
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul benefits either way.
Does he benefit if he gets TKO'd by Ben Askren?
Yeah, because he's a meme.
Yeah, it'll
like,
be funny. Yeah, it'll be
he doesn't care. Like, the only person who cares is Ben Askren. Because if Ben Askren loses, then that's going to be.
But Jake Paul's a boxer, bro. Like, he's a boxer. He's a pro boxer, bro. So like, with his 2 knockouts. So like, if he loses,
he's been paid
that's
$2,
in jeopardy.
So he's a pro boxer.
That's in jeopardy, bro. He's gonna fight Mayweather after this.
Like,
he's got Canelo.
Even if he did lose, like
Canelo.
I don't think the money proposition changes for a fight like that. And that's all Floyd cares about.
Yeah.
And Jake already has the deal, so that's all he cares about, really. Like, there's like the secondary sub goal of like he might be legitimized as an athlete by beating like a real one.
Yeah.
And that doesn't hurt, obviously.
Right.
But like, Jake Paul's good. He's just gonna go back to YouTube and talk wild shit either way.
And it'll be like, well, I retired 2-1 as a pro boxer.
Or it'll be like, I'm gonna, go back to the drawing board and rebuild, and it's gonna be like a whole rebuild series on YouTube.
I love that he's trying.
The women who like hang out in the pool with him while he's pouring champagne on his face, like they're all in the gym with him now. Like, it's
right.
The story's already written.
It's already written. He's already accepted the role of like. He's trying to make himself Ivan Drago, even though he's not Ivan Drago. But that's what he's done. He's trying to assume the role of like a villainous like Rocky villain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he had a team cheer in front of Ben Askren. It was a lot. Like, he's going the Disney like bully route. You know what I mean? You can tell when you hear him like speak on the microphone, he really doesn't know what to say.
No.
Other than like make noises and call him a bitch or a pussy. Like, this is the fight game. It's like, Ben Askren. You're telling Ben Askren that this is the fight game.
Professional man who's been fighting for 15 years. Reminding him what the fight game is.
Remind him what the fight game is. Like, he thinks this is... Listen, if Jake Paul knocks out Ben Askren, it's gonna be... It's a mix between, like... I would be very upset just to see Ben Askren go out that way, but I'd be even more upset that the sideshow continues. The sideshow continues, and he's gonna get another legitimate fighter, and then how long are we gonna do this for?
This is how the McGregor train got off the rails.
Yeah.
This is how the Chael Sonnen train got off. You go as hard as possible, and hopefully you win the fight.
Cut back.
Otherwise.
McGregor on big tits. Continue. I'm sorry. I did, as you said, McGregor's back off off the rails, but he's on the big tits. I just keep seeing it.
You think Conor McGregor knew he was going to knock out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds? No.
No.
Didn't mean he wasn't going to pretend he knew up until and then right after, because everybody else believed.
Mystic Mac.
That's all that matters.
He was working the one not combination, but the one reaction drill with he was off his back foot and it's like rehearsing it.
Like, no one can actually know that that's going to work.
Yeah.
It's really dumb that it did. Right. But he's going to ride that bitch forever. That's what Logan's doing. He's like, you be as pro wrestling as possible, and hopefully when it matters, you win. Yes. And then it all makes sense. It was all worth it.
He's towing the line. He's towing the line between WWE and boxing, and he's just like very clearly trying to be his own little Conor McGregor and his little show.
And it's probably going to work.
It's probably going to work. What are your legitimate thoughts on Ben Askren fighting Jake Paul? Like, would you think it's feasible for Jake Paul to win? Because I do think it's feasible for Jake Paul to win.
I think it's feasible. He's a large, younger, in his motivation-wise, he clearly wants this. Outside of all the nonsense, he's training
for real. For realsies. He is for realsies.
This is a serious thing for him. Um, and sometimes that's all you need.
That's it. That's all you can ask for.
And he's not like super technical. He's not like a prodigy,
No.
but you don't need to be necessarily.
No.
You just need to be pretty game and pretty decent at a few things.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that it's going to be like a startling fight. Like it might just go to decision.
Well, this is what I think is going to happen. I don't even think it'll get to a decision. I think Ben Askren's going to finish him because we saw it with we saw at the highest level, I guess, for Mayweather's sense. McGregor's not obviously a high level boxer, like clearly. Like if you believe that he's a high level boxer, throw him in there with Lomachenko, throw him in there with Canelo Alvarez, throw him in there with the top level guys, and then again, you can go. I don't think you can even honestly send guys smaller than him because Mayweather was. You can send the Charlo brothers out there. Errol Spence. Those boxers would fucking break Conor McGregor's will to fight. If he went out there and he fought Canelo Alvarez, or he fought Errol Spence, or he fought Daniel Garcia, if he fought any one of those guys, he'd be like, all right, I'm done with boxing. Because Mayweather just rope-a-doped him for about 3 or 4 rounds, and then put him away when he felt like it later on. And that was like a nice, Mayweather's got old, broken-ass hands, and he's not throwing the heat that he used to anymore.
This is 40-something-year-old Mayweather who had kind of stopped wanting to get into dogfights years ago. Right.
Like, if it was earlier Mayweather, it would have been done way faster. But the reality of the situation is, even there, like, where you saw Mayweather fight McGregor, Mayweather, rope-a-doped him, rolled his shit, let him throw whatever, let him get, the little milestone of 108 landed on Mayweather, most ever thrown by an athlete, or landed on an athlete, never really put him in any type of real danger, though. Had a couple good highlights. And Mayweather's, a phenomenal athlete. Jake Paul is an average athlete, if you just think about it. He's athletic, but he's not. There's a reason why he's not in the NFL. There's a reason why he's not in the NBA. There's a reason why he didn't make it to the Olympics. There's a reason why he's not playing any of the sports that he's dabbling in right now. Boxing, he's always said, he says he's always wanted to box, but this is the time that he's had to do now. So who knows, earlier, if he cleaned up his shit, how much better he'd be now. Who knows? But now, he's not the best. I've seen way better athletes. Everyone's seen way better athletes than Jake Paul. It's not like he's unreal fast. He's fast in comparison to not high-level boxers or even average boxers. He could beat up a regular person, sure. But Ben Askren, I think Ben Askren's just going to go out there and just, because I think it's 6 2-minute or 3-minute rounds, just let him do whatever he wants. He's gonna blow his fucking load in the first 2 rounds because he's very inexperienced, obviously very inexperienced. He's just started boxing the last 2 years. He hasn't had the time to feel the adrenaline dump and had to go, into later rounds because he's fought a YouTuber and he fought a basketball player. So now that he knows that he doesn't know. Now that he's fighting against someone who is been fighting some of the highest level strikers you can name between Asia and America for the last 10, 15 years. You're not gonna throw any. You can only throw hands, so you're not gonna throw anything he can't see. He doesn't have to move around. He's gonna let him batter him around the first couple rounds. Jake Paul's gonna blow his load, and then Ben Askren's just gonna fucking with the shittiest hands of all time TKO him. That's what I think. That's what I think is gonna happen. Just very gross looking combinations that work are ineffective, and then it's just enough to put them away because the ref will step in, unless the ref's a paid actor because it's fucking thriller.
Because it's all fake anyway.
Yeah.
I wonder if the people, the very high profile people that Jake Paul has been spending time with, have been trying to tell him that, not that you can't tell a person to just be a better striker, but you can kind of describe to a person what round 3 feels like,
right?
Against a real fighter. He did a week with Evander Holyfield, who knows a lot about that,
right?
Knows a lot about championship rounds,
right?
I wonder if there's a way to convey there's no better way than doing it, but I wonder if there is a way to sort of have him access this concept before fighting out the hard way. I think everyone expects him to kind of just run out like a bull and try to end it in the first round because that makes sense. That's a pretty reasonable thing to think. But it's also removing the fact that he is attempting to try to fill his circle with professionals.
Yeah.
And outside of learning new drills and learning like training techniques, these people are probably also telling him some things.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we expect his strategy to be one thing. I wouldn't be surprised if his strategy isn't that.
Yeah.
If it isn't, wait till the middle rounds and then try to open up then.
He's a child.
He's a giant baby.
Yeah, I don't see him. Again, we only seen what he's done to non-boxers, right?
Right.
So in the first couple rounds, we're watching him watch Nate. Like, Nate was able to get inside very fast, almost untouched, but Nate just didn't know how to fight. So he would just stay inside, and this fucking lunk is just going to throw whatever combinations that he's rehearsed on pads. And that's enough to fight someone who's never fought before. But Ben Askren knows where to put his hands. I mean, he's an Olympic wrestler and who's known for his hips and his balance, so his balance is on point. It's not like he's going to get crowded and overrun. He's taken punches from way better athletes in one championship. He's taken kicks from way better athletes in one championship. He's not all that much crazy older. The hip replacement is kind of a red flag, but I just don't see. I mean, it's yes. I think Jake Paul is massive. Like, he was 191 pounds. Probably gonna, and by the way, the weight cut was, or the weigh-in was a week before the fight, so he can walk in there 240 pounds on the day of, and
which is weird. That is a weird thing.
And that's why I'm saying it's like there's like a weird theater part of this. Like, obviously they just did the weigh-in for a theater. Like, clearly the weigh-in does not make a difference.
No.
So the weigh-in was.
But was that like a weigh-in? Like, you know how some events have weigh-ins that are like ceremonial and then real weigh-ins before the fight, like for licensing purposes?
I thought
that maybe one of those?
I thought it was vice versa. No, don't the weigh-in? No, don't they have the weigh-ins and the ceremonial weigh-ins the same day?
They're supposed to have them like the day before, if anything.
Yeah.
Or the same day, but like a week ahead is weird. But I don't know if it's for fakesies anyways. Then it doesn't really matter what you weigh in as.
Yeah.
But also, like, expecting people to have made weight one Friday and then make weight the Friday after is kind of.
This is the Syrian
silly.
commission over this Triller card. They don't care. Yeah. There's no commission in Syria, so they're just like, do whatever. Now that I don't know, maybe I'm bugging. Maybe Syria's got like a great commission that I don't know about.
I'm gonna doubt it. No.
Yeah.
I just really
they got a lot of stuff on their plate, but
yeah, they got
commissioning top tier,
like
best in the world.
They got other things.
Yeah. Shouts out to Syria holding it down for mad years. Everyone's bullying around Syria. Even Syria bullies itself, but they're still hanging in there.
Yeah, they started with themselves first.
Yeah, started at the bottom. Now they're here.
Syria's like, oh, Arab Spring. Word.
Everything's still Syrian. Oh yeah. Oh, y'all just doing Syrian shit?
So I mean, relatively breaking news.
Relatively. Here we go.
And by breaking news, I mean last night when a dude's finger literally broke off his fucking hand.
Oh God! And what?
At CFFC.
Oh, who was it?
Out in the UFC arena in 2800 Arena, out in Philly, where a man in a grapple next to the cage, I guess it got rolled on.
That's so horrifying.
But his ring finger was removed from the second knuckle, like completely. And CM Punk's on the mic trying to like will someone to go find it because they can't find the finger anymore.
So he's screaming, "Go find the finger!"
He's like, "You need help! Like, where's the finger?"
That's so fucking crazy, dude.
Ironically,
oh my God, that's so
the most
horrible.
hardcore thing I've seen in that arena. And I've watched Sandman like knock himself out unconscious with beer cans.
That's got to be one of the most gruesome mixed martial arts injuries in recent memory. 10, 15 years.
Losing a digit.
Losing
probably.
A whole. Is that all time? Has anyone lost? No. Well, Bisping lost an eye.
Yeah.
That's.
I don't think
dire.
anyone knew Bisping lost his eye though. Yeah. Until like years later when he's like, yeah, my eye's glass because when like that eye poke killed
him. He
me.
was looking like fucking that googly eyed guy from fucking what was that movie with Adam Sandler?
Well, I mean,
Mr. Deeds,
several.
Mr. Deeds, Steve Buscemi and Mr. Deeds.
Because I think he's like within the Sandler like universe, so he's in lots of Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah, he's like peanut butter and gumball pizza. That's Bisping now. Oh man!
Apparently, they did eventually find the finger and reattached it.
Oh.
That doesn't mean anything. That means that like maybe that finger is usable ever again.
They use flex tape on the scene.
But like
tape that bitch up.
I think if that dude wants to,
that's
if
fucked.
If that dude's career continues, you might want to consider like
to the knuckle. Wait to the second knuckle.
Taking that off. Yeah.
How? So wait, it was the cage that cut it off.
I don't know if it was at the cage. A struggle at the cage. He was like on the ground, and the other guy was like on him, but like they were rolling around next to the cage. And I don't know if his finger was rolled on by like just the body weight.
He didn't even notice.
No, I had no idea.
The latest bit, his adrenaline was going nuts. What if he won?
Or I think maybe oh, you know what? It was they were standing, and a kick knocked it off.
One kick exploded his finger off his fucking hand, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I think there were two like high kicks.
Do I have to buy Fight Pass to just watch the fight to see if I can see his finger get knocked off?
He blocked with his hands.
Oh no!
And no, he tried to do like a catch and pass, like try to catch low and like pass it across his body. And the second one, I think he met the foot with his finger and like it's gone. And he like squares up again to try to like, get reset. Yeah. And then he reaches for his hand again, and then there's no finger there.
Oh,
and then he falls over like in the cage, and the dude runs over to like go fight him, and then they're like, "Bro, his finger's not there."
Which one was it again?
His ring finger on his, I think, left hand.
Okay, you don't need that finger. He'll be alright.
Yeah, he's fine. He can do a lot with that finger.
His grip's gonna be a little different on that side, but if he's right-handed, he will.
Or, I mean, different isn't necessarily bad.
Yeah.
He's got more space between two fingers now. You can put a lot of shit in there.
Yeah, those eye pokes. His eye poke game's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna fit just like you can. Instead of it stopping where because of your ring fingers hits the nose, you can go into the eyes and through the skull. Now,
do you get like custom gloves for that? Like,
that's a good question.
I have so many questions.
Just cover it up. Just put a little rubber nub on it.
K-Talk Pillow, if you're listening, I have questions.
Yes.
Come on the show. I have lots of questions about the future of your four-fingered hand.
Yeah. Everyone should just shave their fingers down to that knuckle anyway if they're fighting, so there's no eye pokes. Then we fix the situation. Like
an Assassin's Creed, like sacrifice, you have to cut your finger off to be a fighter.
Yeah, they buzzsaw it off at the knuckle line. Like where the gloves are, so you don't have to worry about eye pokes anymore.
Hopefully they do it at weigh-ins. Get the biggest bang for your buck.
Yeah, same day. The guy that says Kali Ma in Indiana Jones does it.
Mm-hmm.
Severs your fingers, throws them in a bowl. Like whore's divorce. So what? So okay. So now that we've covered the news. That's got to be the most. I did not know that. I knew there was a fight yesterday because Evan the Butcher Cuts, who follows me on Instagram, is fighting for the championship there. I wonder if he won. I'm not sure.
I don't know. That's the only news I got from there.
Yeah, that's the
only thing anyone was talking about.
See, now everyone's gonna scrambling to watch the CFFC. Everyone now. More of that.
There is one more thing that dropped last night. Turns out,
someone lost their toe.
Dave Feldman is the president of the Bare Knuckle Fight Club.
Yes.
He's instituted a pension program for his fighters.
Oh, good for him.
If you're a contracted fighter for like multiple fights,
you get a pension.
A piece, I don't know if it's a piece of your purse or some sort of extra money will be allocated per every fight for like a retirement fund.
That's pretty cool.
Which is, he'd be the first major combat sport.
Don't some of them get like $600 a fight to just get beat up by some?
Yeah, just get their ass beat for free, basically. Yeah. But if you're contracted, you probably make better.
Yeah, like Paige Van Zandt made 6 figures, I think, right?
Yeah, I think she's one of the highest paid there.
I didn't watch her fight. Did she win?
Her first one, no, I don't think so.
Did she get beat the fuck up bad?
I don't remember, but I don't think she won.
Let's go to Paige Van Zandt. Yeah, I need to see how the big titty lady is doing. Zandt, BKFC.
But she would definitely qualify or something like that.
Not too fucked up. Her eyes didn't get too badly bit.
But yeah, this would be the only major combat sport I can think of that's done this. And really, it doesn't happen outside of organized sports that aren't unionized in some way.
Right.
So, good on them.
Oh, they have her fighting Bret Hart. Wait, is there a way we can watch this on here?
Possibly. You can screen share.
How do I screen share?
With technology.
That seems to be a real thing, but I'm not too sold on it. You know what I mean?
Technology?
Yeah, on some Ted Kaczynski type shit.
Fair.
On the Teddy
didn't really work out for him though.
Didn't.
Okay.
Made a horrible fate. The app, here's the person's face. Now it just says on big tits on my screen. That's great.
Good.
Wow, this YouTube very long time to go. We'll circle back to that. In the meantime, we got to talk about UFC 260. Do we not? Yeah. Well, I want to give a fucking superly duperly shout out to Miranda Maverick. I'm a Miranda Maverick fan now. On some gang shit. She was out there just clubbing Jillian Robertson. And she's 23 years old. Go back and watch that fight if you missed it or I didn't have the opportunity to watch it because, she's not going to beat Zhang Weili or Shevchenko, but she'll beat everyone else. And she's also 23, so by the time those guys are out of the league, she'll have a legitimate opportunity to go out there and be very, very successful.
Well, she also has space to grow into a fighter that could. I think also part of the conversation also needs to be that I think Jillian Robinson has been.
That's true, but she did put her in a lot of situations that had been dangerous to anyone else, and Miranda just fucking big dicked the shit out of her. I'm sorry, big clitted the shit out of her. We're gonna be very progressive in the year 2021. She big clitted the shit out of her, and just rolled herself, and just used some really cool fundamentals in grappling. And obviously had an unreal gas tank, because she did it for 3 rounds and she really beat the shit out of her. She was in bad positions and she got herself out of it. She made the fight just very exciting to watch. Her Muay Thai is really, really good. I'm a fan.
Yeah, but I think I'd say that's a benefit of time, but I think the important thing to mention is that they're both they've open fighting for around the same amount of time, so they kind of have the same amount of experience. So it is just one kind of just being more physically suited to do this than the other.
Can you see my screen?
As it appears anyway.
All right, here we go.
Yes.
This Mac is not running fast enough to record the video from this call. The recording frame rate will be lowered to compensate. To prevent this warning, choose a lower frame rate. Okay. So that's just because I'm in this little thing, so I'll probably just make it a little bit slower. Whatever, it'll just be for this part. We don't need the corners. We're skipping the corners. There we go. Paige not looking bad. This goes 12 minutes. Did someone get finished?
This thing was called.
Or maybe that's just their hashtag. I hope it is.
All the time.
It's a little loud. Oh. I find the women in this league in particular seem to be the better boxers. Watching the men, they just kind of brawl out a little bit. You see some pretty decent technical striking from the women in this league.
I think the BKFC though kind of early on targeted just like the most goony dudes to be in this. So it's kind of just guys who would just want to fight each other. When they started pulling women in, like, I think the necessary part of that was fighting actual fighters. Because how many goons, like, in the women division can you just reel in?
Will I fight Shevchenko and never win, or go down and beat some people who don't have nearly as much striking experience as I do? But the problem is, a lot of women said that, so now there's like a lot of women in there that are just like decent strikers. Yeah.
Yeah, they all say it at the same time.
I like it.
Which, I mean, is good for BKFC.
I don't know. I like Van Zant right now. Evidently, she does lose, though, so maybe it gets worse. Oh, never mind. Just her getting clubbed.
Yeah, as you fast forward to it being worse.
Damn, they're going to play some Cardi B for the thotties out there. So that's good. We'll skip fight. We're not going to watch this whole fight. Ooh, she said safe. Where?
Is that an energy drink in the middle?
It looks like it. What does it say?
That they're standing on? That's
Tiger Light? Tiger Life. I'm buying a case. I'm buying a case.
With a Y?
What if it's delicious and it changes my life? I tried that Jocko shit. It tastes so bad. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't try that one.
Because I'm just too scared. Cans. It doesn't have a flavor on it, so it just makes me scared to think about like what is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's orange and like.
There's no flavor. It's just they just named it something. Okay, this is just a Muay Thai fight now. They'd be sneaking elbows like crazy in these clinches.
Mm-hmm.
And the refs don't care because the commission doesn't care, because the staff doesn't care. Oh.
Right.
The cameras don't care.
The
fans don't care.
The cameras don't
care. The
fans don't care. The commission's not even watching.
He's watching. He's just not reffing. That's the problem. He's just letting it rock.
It's fair.
It's like, oh, someone should stop this. Paige still fucking game though. I'm liking it, Paigey. Oh. Yeah, I guess the turntables start turning. Let's go a little bit towards the end. See what happens.
I mean, is it really? I don't know that there's ever like really a one thing happening. It's kind of
Well, the first round I was like, looked like she was looking a little nasty out there, and then the second round she started petering out a little bit, and then now she's just getting bludgeoned by Hart.
It's more of like a being first thing, and she isn't really anymore. She's like in the exchanges, but like
at the last minute. It's too late.
Right.
Oh!
Which is what happens when you get pummeled. Oh,
yeah.
When you get pummeled for several minutes, you get a little slower.
No.
Which is fine. She wasn't killed, and that's the point. That was the purpose.
Money well spent, because this is great to watch. This is fun to watch.
It wasn't. Right.
See how much worse it gets in the fifth. Punching her right in the titty. I love to see it. Oh! Nasty uppercut. Oh, shit. Tampa, Florida going buck wild in the crowd right now for sure. Someone got stabbed to death after this. Anyway. Just anyway. It was going to happen, but someone got stabbed to death right after this. Oh! Oh my god! Oh. I would be, if I was Paige, I'd be so scared because this is a zombie that she's fighting right now. This is the Nate Diaz of all women.
Britain was probably talking shit about her.
Wait, Paige is on OnlyFans?
Got her all fucked up. No, you remember when Dana was like, I guess she was even gonna get this time
What
for an
a garbage
OnlyFans
human piece
in her
of
last
shit.
fight.
It's
And
like,
I was like, wow,
I know
Dana,
I've been
chill.
silent for a while, but I definitely gotta drop a B on him real quick. Didn't have to drop a B on him like that, Dana.
Is
49 to
that
46.
Dan Mergliata?
I don't know about 49 to 46. That might be a little bit out of control. Do you get?
It's that last round.
Yeah. Well, the last round
Get
made
everybody
it
all hype again.
49-46 in favor of Hart because Hart was getting teed off on. See or no? Stop sharing.
Uh,
No more sharing.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't like it, but I wasn't there. I wasn't here. I wasn't there with the Tampa crowd telling me
By
how
the
to
way, there is no
score.
scoring in BKFC. It's just whoever looks the worst. That's how they score.
Yeah, fucked up.
I love it though. I love it. Shouts out to Skype for letting us share that. But anyway, yeah, Miranda Maverick kills Paige Van Zandt, if we're being honest with you. Then we got Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida, who I was wrong about. I thought Thomas was going to go out there and go beat up Mr. O'Malley's. So he got knocked out like four times.
Knocked out. Thomas Almeida is on a 4-fight slide right now. I don't think he's going to be the guy everyone thought he was.
I guess, right?
Maybe not wrap it up, but maybe like figure it out. Though, I mean, he's fought 4 times in 4 years, so actually maybe
like,
it is.
It's not like he's fighting like it's not like he's got 20
up.
fights and he lost 4 of them. He's got 4 fights and he's lost 4 of them.
Right. Yeah. He's been fighting for 10 years. Maybe it is time to knock it up.
How'd you feel about the ref this night? Because Mr. O'Malley knocked Homeboy down, and I feel like that was a good no stop because Sean O'Malley was just not disciplined. Like he walked off, but he wasn't unconscious. And then the second one where he like was made to kill him in like a Mortal Kombat type way. He's like finish him. He's like, hey, bro,
finish him.
I just want to smoke Wade, dude.
I think it sucks, but unfortunately, like. In the same vein, like that's why Derek Lewis had to explain why he had to go kill that man. It's because if he doesn't, then the fight is still good until it's called, whether it's over, whether it looks over or not. And you don't want to do unnecessary damage, but you also want them to end this as fast as possible. Like you don't want them to die, but you have to kill them, or they're going to take this from you. It's like this mentality that they pump through you. So
yeah,
and like I get it. Sean's trying to be chill.
He said he wanted the walk-off KO. That's why he didn't do it, which I call first time maybe. The second time it's just bad discipline in my opinion. Like he just let him go, and then he was like, all right, and then he got on top of him, and he one punch KO'd him. But I don't know.
But like everybody wants like the walk-off knockout. Like everybody wants to be in slow motion in the highlight reel, but you're there because you've done it. It's miraculous. Like that's why it's there. You can't just make it happen. It's not like
I don't think he does half the shit he does with these lower level guys as he would to like Jose Aldo. Although Thomas Almeida is pretty fucking good, I will say.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got it was a good fight. The night bonus for that. It was a good fight. It was a good performance. It's just, maybe just finish them. Maybe just do that. Because you don't want to be the guy who the first time doesn't happen and he gets back up and you're waiting for the second and the second never happens because he kills you.
And then
his bantamweight, that probably wouldn't happen, but like
Probably not. I don't know. 135 pounds. Very light. Nah. Well, maybe if because Sean O'Malley's 5'11", which is basically 6 foot. Amongst
but 5'11" at
that's a
135
big guy.
Pounds.
He doesn't look 135 pounds when he's in there.
That's a tall guy.
His legs and his arms are skinny, but he's got a huge torso, which matters. So does Almeida. Though.
The point is, I don't think he's got it. Like, that's a little guy. It's a tall guy. He stands next to you. You'd be like, well, I got to look up. But at 135 pounds, he might still knock you out because he has a good technique. But like, I don't know.
I think his speed
like
is what really compensates for it, and his precision. Yeah.
He's very precise. I think that's what wins him. He can move like a storm, but also hit exactly where he wants to.
And he has rainbow hair.
Well,
now it's yellow and blue.
And that's like very complex.
Been changing it around.
When's how long until he cuts a promo
has got acrylic nails on,
and then we have to cancel him,
like Lil Pump. Yeah.
Is he gonna go?
He's gonna have to,
Lil Pump,
because he's loves those guys. He loves 6ix9ine. So if he loves 6ix9ine, I just assume we like Lil Pump or Mrs. Pump, whatever his pronouns are now. I don't. Maybe.
Is he a different pronoun though?
Yeah. Well, that's.
Although he's just a Trumper last time I checked.
MAGA's a pronoun.
Trumper a pronoun?
Big facts. Zay, them.
They, them, MAGA.
Megas. But yeah, Sean O'Malley murdered Thomas Almeida. Rest in peace. May you rest. I think he died.
He's not dead.
He killed the guy.
His career might be.
Fucking executed him. He's like Count Dooku. Do it. Do it.
That's kind of how that fight is.
On some sweep the leg type shit, Johnny.
I think so. Oddly enough,
because they were both dead on their feet. Because they're both dead on their feet, fighting with brain damage. That's why.
Is it time to just admit that?
I don't know if he's
washed,
but he's now a gatekeeper for the UFC.
But I think that
I feel like he can go somewhere else and just knock people unconscious. Still.
Let's see. At welterweight, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He might knock people unconscious, but is he? I'm sure you can go to Rise and just find someone for him to kill.
Bellator, or maybe Jake Paul.
But the thing is he going to Bellator? Because
maybe that's the thing.
The bantamweights in Bellator
it's
nobodies
welterweights. He's a welterweight. Because we were just talking about bantamweights, but the bantamweights are pretty good there too.
Welterweights.
Yeah.
But
just never fight Doug Lima.
Is
just fight everyone in their lower rungs. Yeah, he's like, just
if I kill everyone,
just open up, I want to beat everyone in the top 15, and then they just get that and then only accept of the 15th guy, and then just blast him into another dimension.
I mean, he'd probably beat Roy McDonald, who I don't know if he's still even there. I have no idea.
Is
Venom Page still there? I have no idea.
Venom Page can get knocked out. That wouldn't be fun.
Ryan Masasi.
He's definitely not beating Gegard Mousasi.
But would it even be what even is the point? Why even do that?
Because he should
probably get paid more to fight.
He made some tweet.
Fuck is hanging out here.
He's not retiring, basically, or it seemed like that. So and Dana was like, "You should probably retire. You're on a fight skid." And when he's saying that, it's like, all right, he's probably just gonna get rid of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Dana is definitely has been looking for an excuse to get rid of Tyron Woodley.
Or you can go to the PFL and make a cool million because there's no welterweights there that are good. Just beat all those guys up.
Or he can
he can divert his time and energy into being a Michigan rap artist. Because that avenue is wide open for him.
I don't think he has the money for that, though.
You don't think he wanted...
Didn't he... I thought he spent through most of his money from his
I Beat Your Ass is a Billboard song? That's not going plat?
Yeah, that's not going
give
plat.
Him 20 years.
I don't think so.
And then it'll go plat.
20 years to go platinum. Yeah. Ironically.
That's honestly should be the national anthem. That song. It's a great song. Poetic.
That and You Almost Forgot by Roy Jones.
I think that
Doubleheader.
That song that goes, "The time is here, the time is now," will hit platinum before if it hadn't already hit platinum. John Cena's song.
John Cena's song?
Sure. What is it called?
I'm sure that's platinum.
Yeah, let's see.
You know what? Let me figure. Hold on.
What platinum the first week it dropped?
My time.
Da, 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 da.
Is this single platinum? I would actually be surprised if it's not. Not readily available information, it turns out. His album that song is on debuted at number 15 of the Billboard 200 charts.
The WWE fan base? Rabid. For white rap?
For white rap, absolutely. Album peaked in the UK.
So you're saying it's international?
Yeah, I'm saying he's an international superstar. At Stylist Magazine, he got a D+. Oddly enough, Source didn't review this.
Someone shot up the Capitol building 11 minutes ago.
Right now? So when Chet Hanks I don't think he meant four shootings in 2 weeks.
White people went, on God?
It's been a quarantine for
I knew shit was about to pop off when that dude in Scranton went nuts and killed those people with the snow shovel incident. I was like, uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
All the 4chan nerds, when they start cracking their knuckles, like, all right, well, time to get out of retirement.
Yep.
So this is what I'm reading right now. Reports of gunfire outside of the United States Capitol building after a vehicle attempted to breach a security checkpoint. Unconfirmed reports that at least 3 people were shot, including 2 police officers. An unknown suspect is speculated to be the 3rd person who was shot. A U.S. Park Police helicopter is used for a medevac area that has been locked down. No word on the conditions of those who were shot.
You would think the Capitol would be
one of the comments is Roro Raggy. I think it's just like why ISIS attacks checkpoints and like Marine Corps checkpoints with 6,000 people just looking at one spot. It's just to show that hey, we're here, we're queer, get used to it, you know what I mean? That's their form of protest.
I guess, but if you're a dude who hits the barrier, runs out, pops off, and then the military.
Well, apparently they didn't eliminate him. Apparently he was shot and he was possibly medevaced. So we'll see. I love how all the conservative people are just going to be real quiet about this. They hadn't egged these fucking guys on.
No, they're going to be let's not jump in front of it. Thing, all right?
This isn't about guns. Okay? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And, where it might not be about guns, they definitely egged some fucking incel on, the Capitol building. This Capitol building is going to take your gun, so you should go shoot it up.
Mm-hmm.
Unreal. White people smoking weed all crazy up in it. No, they hated that. Just for, because historically they just arrested black people for doing it.
Why won't anyone
when are they going to take the Capitol into consideration before they do this buffoonery? Talk about white people taking shots. Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic, huh? I think the shooter was upset about that more than anything else.
Someone
the McGregor Mayweather thing.
Probably. A third African?
Honey, you're not going to see me again. Not in my country. You're right. It's another country. It was in another country.
does is this so a trilogy is probably like
Stipe's gonna retire.
a thought. But I was gonna
Why?
say, like,
Why
does
would
Stipe
he? Why
even
would he?
want to
He's
have
made all
fight
his
again?
money.
Like, I think he's had the run of his career,
Well, I have a
there
question
is
to
no
ask you because I've been
topping it.
thinking about this because we've had this conversation many a time about Jose Aldo, right? Everyone wants to erase what he did because of a 13-second knockout, and he's still fighting and he's still successful, which is so crazy to me that he still wouldn't even be considered as one of the goats as featherweight because he just got knocked out by a guy who barely stayed in the division for more than 2 years. So, um, and
Hmm.
same thing with I guess Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. Like people want to like kind of remove his goat-ishness and replace it with Izzy because he's undefeated at middleweight but hasn't fought nearly as many spanning generations of fighters. Do you think this erases Stipe Miocic if Francis hangs around and just clangs a couple more guys around? Because who else is going to be Francis? You know what I mean?
No, I think people, I think the momentum of people wanting Francis to be what he's become is doing a lot of work to forget like the journey he took, and that journey did involve like getting stopped by one of the best
Yeah.
heavyweights in the
Well, he
past
didn't get
decade.
stopped. He didn't get finished.
Um,
He lost. He lost.
well,
Yeah.
he didn't get finished, but I mean, his momentum was stopped. He
Yeah,
went and
that's true.
fought like he was knocking everyone out. Like his path to that title shot was pretty easy. Um, and that was not only was it his first challenge, it's the worst he's looked, and
Yeah.
it really kind of put things in
And he made the
perspective.
adjustments.
That having like weird Ivan Drago ass like
Right.
knockout strength isn't really
He had to
enough.
learn some shit. But that's okay. It wasn't like he was like, and given his context and his story for where he came from, it makes him more exceptional fighter. I think people slept on Francis Ngannou's fight IQ because he hasn't had a lot of time inside the octagon, and when he did have time in the octagon, he got beat by Stipe. But let's just put this in perspective. It's not a matter of him being lackadaisical or a matter of him, taking days off. It's just a matter of him. He's picking up slack at a speed that you couldn't even imagine. All of these people have been fighting for at least 10 to 15
Mm-hmm.
years. Francis Ngannou's only been fighting, like only been doing this one sport for 5 years. He hasn't done. He was homeless.
Mm-hmm.
He was learning how to box in France. He was an illegal immigrant crossing the border in a way worse environments and more dangerous environments than you can imagine. Seeing people die, starving, no money, leaving his family behind, was able to do all that, right? Survive all that, and then find a gym that would co-sign his talent and his skill, teach him enough to be competitive, and he just shoots up the ranks in heavyweight, which is like the scariest division of all time in any striking sport, able to clobber 6 guys in a row, has 100% finish rate, loses to Stipe one time, and wins in the rematch almost 3-4 years later with one stuffing of a takedown, or a couple, maybe 2 or 3, stands up Stipe, who has stood up with him before and taken shots, and was able to overcome Stipe's fight IQ, knock him unconscious, and it's like this beautiful, perfect story, and it's amazing for Francis. And maybe down the line he could be considered the GOAT, or I don't know. What if he retires? Like, I don't know. But I can understand how people will treat it like he was a worse fighter. I just think he was just learning the sport. And Stipe,
He was learning the sport, and I think he was learning it against like remember on his first sort of rise, he fought. I don't want to say nobodies, but because
yeah,
Curtis Blades is not nobody.
at the
Andre
time was
Arlovsky
good. What?
at the
I don't
time was
know.
maybe a nobody, but like historically, I mean, that was 2017. Arlovsky was trying to
Yeah.
like bring it back, or 2016, 17. Arlovsky, who was like, me and
I'm
ACH are
back.
cool now, so like,
On a back type beat?
but I don't think anyone is expecting
Yeah.
any from Arlovsky. We stopped expecting stuff from him like early
Right.
2010s. But Overeem,
Pretty damn good.
who was back, he was like really trying to put that second half of his career together again. Um, then he lost to Stipe. Then like a freak loss, decision loss to Derek Lewis, which I don't think he expected to happen or anyone expected to happen really. Then had the fight, Curtis Blades again, and then Cain Velasquez, and then Junior Dos Santos. Like those are real guys.
Yeah.
Those are cross generational fighters that are like notches in the hat, and he had performance of night fights for most of those. So the second climb was just as important, valuable for like ring experience, but like for like putting like real legitimacy on his record,
right?
Than the first like climb. But to the original question, I think the problem with short-sightedness is that you don't want to be the person, or you don't want to say that, only people who don't watch or don't follow are the kind of people that would fall into the idea of like letting one knockout just kind of erase your entire opinion and erase someone's entire history in a sport because
you can say
this
casual.
is the last moment you're going to remember them as. I can, but I think the problem is that isn't like a casual opinion anymore. Or that that one knockout, or one bad performance after a long, sort of peaceful, like stable sort of reign can disqualify your entire all the work you did in the past few years. I think that used to be a casual concept, but I don't know that is true anymore. I think there is such a need
like an emotional
for
response.
even like analysts
an emotional response.
And right to have this, to live in these moments all the time. So I feel like both are true. Like people are probably, unless Stipe has a rematch immediately, people are probably done. I just
feel like there's no need.
Thing,
I just feel like there's no need because like he's already proven that he can come back from a loss and win. He did it 2 times against DC, who's like a way better wrestler than he is by like a lot, and made the adjustments. Is like Stipe is like 39 years old, bro. Like why? Like why is he gonna go out here and then do a whole other fight camp just to fight Francis Ngannou again and possibly beat him and still have accomplished the same amount of accomplishments? Like,
Right, like you now have a third run. Like,
it's a lose-lose too, because homeboy just like fucking like, well, no, it's not a lose-lose. Obviously, he wins. Like people will be like, "Shut the fuck up about it." But it sucks because like, well, let's talk about Stipe, what he's accomplished. Like fucking homeboy has spanned like 3 generations of heavyweights, like, and beat all of them. Like, he's righted almost all of his wrongs, and the only one he wouldn't have righted is Francis if he chooses to retire, which is fine. Like, Francis is the next, I can't say next generation because he's like 34 years old, right? Like 33, 34, something like that.
But you can still be, if we're speaking of fight generations as kind of like moments of relevancy,
right?
That can happen at any age, really. But yeah, I don't know that, like, Stipe spent the last 3 years fighting Daniel Cormier. In a compelling series of fights that I think were important and necessary. But like, that was 3 fights in 3 years. He's like a firefighter, like has a kid, just kind of wants to be a dude. Like, he's accomplished what he needs to accomplish. I don't think anyone looking at him on paper can take that away from him. Will people be like whispering his name in the annals of time? Probably not. Maybe not to, that's probably a discredit to him, but like, that's what is that necessary? Like, do people need to be like screaming his name from the rafters? Probably not. But there is, I think, if he walked away tomorrow, like, there's no reason to not respect. Yeah, for the heavyweight division especially, because heavyweight division was in a weird place for.
It's really. I think it boils down to this, and this circles back to our white uprising type thing, where it's like it's just really tough to be a white heterosexual male in today's economy. You know what I mean?
True. Who's going to be the
Right.
Who's going to represent the
Right,
cis
with
white
flowy
male
hair
in
that
the fight
Stipe
game?
just got out of nowhere.
Because we all know that they are
they're losing the
a
country,
dying race,
honestly.
a dying breed. Really just oppressed.
Can't Cain Velasquez can have brown pride on his chest. Why can't Stipe have? Can he have Croatian pride?
Can you imagine if Stipe
Can...
pride on
What if
his
it gives
chest?
him power and he never loses again? And then he shout. You know how like He-Man shouts, "I have the power." What if he's? What if he picks up like a seasonless chicken and holds it up to the sky and says, "I have the power" or something like that? Yeah, white power. White
and just
power.
screams power into it. Starts to glow.
That'd be great. What if Stipe makes a complete MAGA turn? We need it. We need it today.
Colby Covington will ride. He'll hear the call.
You know my favorite thing about Colby Covington is
MAGA horse.
I'm positive there's other MAGA people out there. I mean, Jorge Masvidal is like the only other exception, but he hates Colby Covington. There's no one that like is side by side like co-signing Colby Covington. Like as like, you know what, he's right. We needed this, and there's zero people in the UFC other than Jorge who just is like by proxy supporting Colby because he likes MAGA too. You know?
I feel like if there was any reason for a fighter to not be like openly MAGA, it's because you were get associated.
So that's less to do with like them being MAGA supporters.
They'd rather be associated with Donald Trump than Colby Covington.
Yeah,
it's like Ted Cruz. For
Except
years,
for
no
all
one wanted to even be in the same room with that dude. Well, they kept re-electing him because they were all afraid of somebody else, like a Democrat.
What's worse than Ted Cruz?
They don't like Ted Cruz. They just hate Democrats more.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Poor Colby.
Does he though? Does he want friends? Because I think he chose violence instead of friends, like every day. Because there's like been ample opportunities for him to have plenty of friends, and then he's chosen not to do that. So like.
Even Dana White, who you think would
You know why? Because he tried to fucking embarrass Dana White at the casino. He brought like a camera with him, and he's like, "Give me a fight, dog." And then Dana's like, "Can you get the fuck out of here? I'm gambling, and I have coke." Yeah.
Yeah, sir, this is a high-stakes poker game, and I'm high on coke right now.
I'm surprised he's made it this far. Colby.
Yeah, that's why he started calling the president. He needed a bigger gun to keep him safe.
And so does Junior.
Mm-hmm. Colby Covington was playing 4D chess with us the whole time.
Colby. I'm just waiting for the day where he's like a Metal Gear Revengeance boss in the second one.
So
yes.
John Jones brings up a good question. Is $10 million not enough?
I saw someone respond to that with the audacity to be like, I think we need to put this into perspective because Dana White's only worth $100 million. I think fighters need to are asking too much and blah, 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 blah at a certain level. And it's like, hey, you go fight Francis Ngannou.
Yeah. Or more importantly, why do you assume that Dana White is reaching into his bank account? It's a $1 billion
organization.
That's not what's happening.
You want to go fight there? Fight Francis Ngannou for $20,000? Go right ahead, dude. Go ahead. If that's your dream, more power to you. John Jones, despite how big he is, despite the weight that he's put on, still has to prepare and go out and fight Francis Ngannou, who just knocked out Stipe Miocic in a minute, 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And this is before we that's just the simple you should not fight a man who's that dangerous for free.
I mean, he'll shave years off your life.
Probably. That is before we even take into consideration the value add of having someone like John Jones, maybe the second biggest draw,
right,
that the UFC has under contract. So part of the millions and millions and millions of dollars that the UFC makes annually from ticket sales,
but pay-per-view, because the $1,200 is what the average UFC
the pay-per-view
consumer has to spend a year.
So like a lot of that money is reliably from fights you put John Jones on. And the same way that it was that the same was true with Conor McGregor and with Ronda Rousey. That's why they can then go back and say, I deserve a larger portion of the money you're making because I'm the reason you're making it. So to say that the UFC that it's had like maybe not this year, but just re-signed like a new merchandising deal with Venom that's going to bring them in way more money. Has ESPN all like tied up, it seems. They're going back to the people that they're asking for money from and using all these value cases to require more money from their sponsors. There's no reason that these fighters should be doing the same to the UFC. If you're the biggest draw active right now, you should be asking for the most money possible. I think that's
you are
what
people consider the best fighter to ever do mixed martial arts across all organizations. People consider you that. They consider John Jones that, right? It's the consensus. It's either him or Daniel Cormier because he was able to go up and do it without any asterisks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not, you know, there's goats in other weight classes and GSP comes up and, you know, all those people come up. But John Jones is pretty unilateral. I hear more people talking about John Jones being the GOAT versus someone like GSP in today's climate, in today. So even if it's not true or even if it's a top 3 battle, John Jones is more or less considered best 205er and possibly best fighter all the time. He's got to go up against what people consider the Mike Tyson of the UFC, right? One of the scariest heavyweights to ever do it. He's just eclipsed superstardom. So the draws between these two fights is like the implication of who's a Nigerian-born champion. So he's got all of Africa behind him now. He can be easily marketed because of who he is and what he's done. John Jones can be easily marketed by who he is and what he's done if he stays out of any more horse strangling situations or cocaine use or gun discharge or DUI. Like if he could stay away from all of that, which he's done so far, we're talking about a multi-million-dollar deal. Like, or $1 million brought in just for the one pay-per-view event, based off of just their names. And then, if they're building a card, they can add other people. They can add, you know, other superstars on there, Michael Chandler and all these other people they're trying to build up right now. Jorge Masvidal, right? So if we can get at least 2 or 3 other people, we're talking about something that could possibly be like a $300 million, $200 million night. Based off of, you know, sales, pay-per-view sales, and they're hunting for places they can pack arenas. So, you know, is it the safest? Probably not. But if you're selling them out, so people are going. People are going. So we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars possibly being made. Is it too much to ask for $100 million between the two guys who are going to bring in almost 50% to 60% of that money? Is it too much?
And they're in a position where they can and they should. I think the problem with these conversations, because you know Conor McGregor did the same thing when he did it, is that never translates to anyone else. I wish there was a way to springboard this conversation. Like, look at this very valuable person who is interested in fighting, but isn't interested in fighting for anything less or for fighting for money.
He wants more than Conor McGregor and Brock Lesnar. That's what he wants.
And he wants it because at this point he probably deserves it. How is there a way now to have that conversation turn into like, actually, maybe many of these people deserve to have a version of this conversation? Maybe Michael Chandler also.
Well, John Jones, and this is where I'm on John Jones' side. You know, as much as we don't like to admit it. So it's a hard sell. Yeah. But John Jones, in my opinion, is more valuable than Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar might have the highest pay-per-view of all time, and Conor McGregor might have the highest pay-per-view of all time. But John Jones has only had to fight. He's only done this. He hasn't done anything else. He hasn't done movie deals. He hasn't done TV deals. He hasn't done, you know, I'm sure he's had sponsorships and stuff like that. But his name is made specifically off of just fighting. Conor's got his brand whiskey and his antics. And John Jones' fame might be international or national because of his crimes, but he's rest fully assured he's not orchestrating those crimes. Those are just a byproduct of John Jones existing. You know?
It's not a show. He's not out here like trying to make himself a controversy.
Yeah.
He just is
Bro,
into
all he does
stupid
is say a
shit
couple
and
Hail
keeps getting
Marys on
caught
his
doing
Instagram
it.
and he's right back to training and then people forget. So like it's not like he's like going out and making a theme park or doing his own brand of Coca-Cola or some shit like that. You know what I mean? I was gonna say cocaine, but whatever. Who cares? I gave up on. Yeah, at this stage,
He probably has his own brand.
strain. It's not like he's trying to build his brand doing other stuff. Like he's got guys. Like obviously he's made millions of dollars just fighting. So he's out and he's made some good business decisions. And his brother's pedigree has helped him a lot too. And having access to that Jones family name, family of champions. Is he like the fucking Serena Williams of the UFC? Probably not. Because as dominant, not as squeaky clean. So as much as it's difficult to admit, like he's made almost all of his fame, let's say 80% of his fame, 75% of his fame, literally just fighting. Brock Lesnar had to do other stuff to get this type of fame. He had to come from the WWE and wrestle, for Division I college and football and all that stuff, media stunts and call outs and public appearances and all that shit. Like John Jones has been in the cut just doing coke and fucking people up, and that's all he's needed to be the greatest of all time and be nationally recognized and internationally recognized.
Part of it, I think, is important to remember, especially with Lesnar specifically, is that he was popular before. He's probably more popular outside of MMA. Mm-hmm. Like MMA legitimized him, legitimized his star power in a way that I don't think him or his manager Paul Heyman thought they could, because they knew, especially around the time wrestling was huge, his name was big. He'd just gone to Japan and sort of like spread his wrestling brand there too. So like he has legitimized himself in a wrestling community and a wrestling culture outside of the WWE. Right. He didn't need Vince McMahon anymore to make himself a star. Then he legitimized himself as an athlete going to UFC and drawing these numbers. Like you don't get the UFC 100 pay-per-view draws without him, because he was bigger than the UFC at that time. Then he left and continued to be bigger than the UFC without the UFC. Then came back and did some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, he saved UFC 200 because it was a complete disaster.
But But he's always been operating by himself. He's here for the money. He might like,
and he hasn't even fought as much.
That's probably.
I think he's only had 10 fights in the UFC or something like that.
Right. Is there a bigger star grown from the UFC who has been with the UFC for the past 10 years, like kind of become synonymous?
That's a good point. Like he's fucking a homegrown product. You guys made him in house, and you guys are not willing to pay him the amount of money because of what? I don't know.
And it's not like he left or like sat out, when he was in his first like 205 championships. Not like he was just like holding out to get more money. He was fighting everyone.
Every generation.
He was fought everybody. He made that division when the UFC needed that division to be made, or needed anything. Like this was before they then made stars like Rousey and Conor McGregor. He was the star. This is back when and Anderson Silva was still there. Like that was back with those champions.
To be fair to Dana White, as much as we don't want to be fair to Dana White, they're in the infancy of their negotiations. So we will see what conspires past this point. Like if Dana's going to play hardball, which I don't think he will, because they need to build up cards for the upcoming year. He'll be dramatic and hold out.
And they don't want him to leave.
Oh, you think Bellator won't pay John Jones?
Something else, and then they have to watch his star power.
A machine that they made. Their own machine would turn on them.
That'd be very silly baby decisions if they let that man go to Japan and let China and let one championship make that dude.
Big facts.
Made. Him and Misha Tate posing on a poster somewhere.
Lines
in
ahead of
Tiananmen Square.
All riled up.
Get everybody just mad.
We're into this.
Like, what's his name? Alonzo Mourning. In front of Alonzo Mourning.
Oh, if he goes at 1, he gets to take all the steroids he wants to. So.
Right? It's going to be 300
pounds. You want 300 pound John Jones?
Is that what you want?
Yes, that's exactly what I want. He's going to go to the PFL. That would just be sad. We would get... we would get overweight
I don't
John
know if
Jones
UFL
for
can
that,
afford him.
and just like him,
That's when he's
Thor,
retiring.
like
That's
Thor
40
in the new Avengers when they come back and he's all fat and shit. That's what we need. Throwing wheel kicks,
Yeah.
being successful.
Yeah, still working. Still spinning back.
Yeah, that's an interesting turn of events. How do you think that goes, Francis and John Jones? Is that too early to speculate right now?
I think it's too early to speculate
Who
because
knows?
who even knows what he'll look like? Like, Jones has been out here like his strength regimen, his weight gain has been like a slow process that he's kind of been chronicling, but we haven't really seen it like work yet.
Not gonna
So
happen.
if he gets a fight in between, which is
That's what I would do too.
He clearly just
Like,
wants this fight,
like
but
why even risk going up
respect
and
it,
fighting a
I'd say.
heavyweight and just getting KO'd for like $6?
then losing, yeah, what if right? Don't take the $800,000 fight against fucking
Right.
anyone.
Especially
Lose by accident.
Go ahead, I'm
like
sorry.
it might.
Yeah.
I
Especially
can't
especially
imagine.
because they've given everyone else a belt an opportunity to just go up and fight a weight class above them anyway, without having to fight somebody. Like Luke Rockhold didn't have a belt, so he had to fight somebody first. Unfortunately, he got the Thiago Santos fate. Or no, was that Jan? Or was it both of them? No, I think Jan. I think
Go
Luke
up.
Rockhold went up to Jan, and then Jan was like, "LOL, go back down there.
Oh yeah,
Get out.
And Jan was
This
like,
is not. Go back
Jan
to
was
the
like, "Get
underwear
out."
ads."
"Stop it."
Whereas, like, and Israel Adesanya, he didn't have to fight anybody. He just went right up and fought fucking Jan because they're like, "You're gonna beat this Polish guy up," and he's like, Jan was like,
"I am,"
"Hey,
and then Jan was like, "Stop
I
that."
have this rope from this guy's neck that snapped in the woods, so I'm going
I
to."
don't know if you know, but I have
And he
superpowers
did.
now.
Bro, I'm about to go to the Suicide
which
Force.
is
Maybe that
plus
Jake
me
Paul should have
with
done
the power
that.
to
Jake
kill
Paul
you.
should have took that guy's neck rope, and then he would have won those fights against KSI and both fights against KSI.
Didn't I thought he won one of them?
I think he's. Oh, I think he's got a loss and a draw.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
KSI
wow.
beat him.
Don't let
and
KSI beat you.
But first they drawed. he did a draw.
I remember the draw.
Did a
actually.
draw
Right,
against
yeah.
the fucking
I do remember the draw
YouTuber, bro.
now.
There's nothing more embarrassing than getting a draw with a YouTuber.
They were like, "Run it back," and I was like, "Why would you,
You know
say that? Nobody wants to see
You know
this
what's even
again."
greater?
And
Fucking
then,
Logan
yeah,
Paul
got smoked.
lost and got a draw, but basically lost 2 times. Because I mean, like, if you're not winning in fake professional boxing, then you're losing, because that's how that works. Loses both of those fights and then still gets to fight Mayweather anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like,
'Cause, again,
what?
Floyd
A
Mayweather
cool
doesn't care.
$200
He says
million
for the money.
to beat up him? I don't give a fuck.
You weigh 50 pounds
I'll let
more
you
than
do
me. I don't give
whatever.
a shit.
Oh, you're 5 times slower than Conor McGregor is?
Anyway,
Question is, do you think he finishes Logan Paul? You don't think he finishes Logan Paul?
No.
I think he does. Well, you know why? Because the ref is not real. So
I
they're
think he
just
even
going to let
wants
him beat up. Unless he goes unconscious, he's just going to let him get beat the fuck up. Okay, fair enough.
right. I don't even think like. Though I guess there's a dimension
Throws a
where he
head
just
kick.
kind of
Yeah.
gets TKO'd or something, or like the ref stands in and just watches this man get pummeled like with like 43
Just
uninterrupted
treats him like a fucking
open shots,
burnout.
and he's just like, I gotta stop.
Like one of his Instagram videos of him just burning out on the bag. Just turns into that. Be great to watch.
Yeah.
We hope we see Ben Askren do that. That's all I got for today. Do you have anything else that's coming up, or that you want to plug or talk about? Or? I'm gonna
the
find a
finger
video of that
is all I
finger,
wanted
and
to
that's
talk
the
about,
first thing I'm
to be
posting
honest.
on my Instagram. I love that the people that follow me on Instagram on the Catchway page, like, I don't put anything up there, and then it's just horror. Like, it gets your attention. It's like, oh, Catchway just posted something new, and then everyone's like, all right.
I have my notifications on for this. I wonder what this
Someone's
is. Oh,
being beheaded.
it's someone dead.
And then my voice over it. Isn't that horrible? Anyway, Catchway update this week. No, you didn't watch this cartel chainsaw execution today, but here it is.
This reminds you of anything, you should tune in.
Do you?
Number one source for
is Monday
cartel
giving you a
chainsaw
headache?
message.
Tune in to Catch Rate Update. But that's it. That's it. I'm gonna post this Sabe. I'll make a little promo for it, and that's it. Peace, love, and gap, y'all. Oh wait, I don't have to fucking do the everyone's tags. I almost said clan tags. At Jarrett John, JarrettJawn, and that's on Instagram, and that's on Twitters. That's also his legal name, for those who don't know. Now you do know that. You can follow me at Peach Daddy, Peachp. Oh no, there's not a P in there. PeachDaddie, because someone took Y, and to this day I've extended this to the person out there that has that Y. We can fight for that name. We can fight for that name, and I will get that. I will get that handle back. That's the only stipulation of the fight.
I don't know. I think.
I
don't know Peach Daddy with a Y, but I feel like he's mysterious for a reason.
I'm gonna tag him in this call out. Peach Daddy with a Y. Oh, he's got that little reticle on your eye that reads power levels.
Oh, he sees your tweets and is like, "Or your posts," and he's like, "No, this is too high."
And then he's a Bay Area skateboarder, so I know I'm definitely gonna win.
I don't know. He might be a homeless Bay Area skateboarder though.
As if I don't have the blicky.
I'm just saying.
Me and Wale are gonna pop the trunk
car right now.
Out here. Remember he said he was gonna pop the trunk on the Israel Adesanya and Dan the Hangman. Think you're gonna shoot us?
I forgot that actually, but that's fine.
Imagine me not popping the trunk. They're like, are you gonna shoot us? You're from America.
Is this when I get killed by Wale?
You definitely were gonna
DC rapper Wale
for losing. Imagine getting beat up. Imagine seeing Wale get beat up and then he shoots everyone in fucking gym. That'd be crazy, dude.
I feel like that's how Gronk and Waka Flocka hung out originally. That's how they met each other. No, they're hanging out and them recognizing that Waka Flocka regulates. I got beat up. I have to shoot everyone because I can't go out like that. But then you met Gronk. It's like, well, Gronk's enormous, so I can just let him kill someone for me, and that's fine because he's Gronk. He's he played for the Patriots. He's gonna be fine.
Didn't have to get the Draco that day.
Yeah. Then he used Gronk's privilege to start.
What if Gronk was doing the dirty with Aaron Hernandez? Not the gay dirty, but the murder. I believe they had a gay sex relationship versus Gronk rolling in the deep. Mac on the hip.
Am I gonna say I'm surprised?
Gronk don't have the blicky on him?
I would not be surprised.
Damn.
No.
Right.
He might have he'll go to a range. He might go hunting.
He doesn't have the shtick in his
pose
pants.
with the camo.
Brandishing?
But yeah, it's not in the fucking center console.
I heard he's got the dual akimbo type thing. Gold plated Uzis.
Cash money in 2000.
All right, this is getting ridiculous. We're stopping this now.
I want to read
his whole character build.
Rewrite Gronk's
I love
history.
It.
The whole character he built for himself.